I wonder how long Tottenham fans, Perry, are prepared to wait, because the headline story the other day, Bob, floored us somewhat when we heard Antonio Conte is talking to Daniel Levy about taking over at Tottenham, but he is, and the talks go on. So how close are Tottenham to nailing down one of the biggest names, one of the most powerful managers in the modern game? Because this guy just delivered the Serie A title to Inter Milan. Everybody's talking about Antonio Conte to Tottenham. Is it going to happen? If so, when? Just before we came on air, the man who is across this story more than anybody, the top European football journalist, Fabricio Romano, he gave us an update on this and told us exactly where the talks are.
The situation is ongoing, I would say, because Antonio Conte, his representatives and Tottenham board are discussing about the contract, about the salary, about the project, about the staff, because he wants to bring his members. Staff is key for Antonio Conte. Really, they did an amazing job also at Inter, so that's why for Antonio Conte it's so important to have his staff together with him in London. But at the moment there is still no total agreement, so still discussion ongoing. Let's see what happens in the next 48 hours, because he wants to continue to discuss with Tottenham and to decide also together with his family about the future in London. So let's see what happens, but now Tottenham and Antonio Conte are still negotiating.
Do you think there are any problems, or do you think it will actually happen?
No, I won't say problems, but they need to decide together, because when you have a manager like Antonio Conte, in my personal opinion, one of the best five in the world, he's really amazing. He's a serial winner. He's fantastic. But if you want to go with Antonio Conte, you have to go 100% with a serious project together. You have to be 100% at the same point, talking about the owner, the board, and the manager, Antonio Conte, obviously, in this case. So it's so important to have a project. When we want to win, how many investments we want to do, new signings, the project with the manager. He needs to be 100% together with the board. He had some problems here at Inter because first season was so good, but then he had some problems with the ownership. Owners of Inter were not here in Milano always to be together with him, talking with him and working on the project with him. So if Antonio Conte doesn't see the vision of the club, you have a big problem. That's why Antonio wants to discuss with Tottenham. He wants to be 100% convinced on the next step of his career, because he's in a fantastic moment. With Inter was incredible. After 11 years, Inter were not winning, and Antonio did it. So now he wants to be 100% convinced, and they are still discussing on every single detail.
So obviously it's close. The talking goes on. What assurances does Conte need here? What does he want? What does he need?
He needs, first of all, to have some power in decide together with the board about the new signings, about what kind of player the club needs. So discussing together about the transfer market, but the work plan of the club. So be involved in the club, be part of the club, and not just the manager and the board in two different positions. The second thing so important is to be always connected also with the owner. We know that Daniel Levy obviously is always working for Tottenham, and this is something positive in my opinion. I see a lot of comments saying, look at Daniel Levy and Antonio Conte together, it could be terrible. I don't agree. I think that they are like perfect, because Daniel Levy is always focused on Tottenham and Antonio Conte wants this kind of owner. So they're also discussing on this point, but in my opinion, this is a positive one. The main issue is about how much they can spend on the transfer market, because it's obvious they have a big gap. Talking about Manchester City or this kind of clubs in this moment, they need to do something on the transfer market. So to understand if they want to go together with Conte and the new players, so I would say the budget to spend this summer and not only, the vision of the club for the future, the director of football, because for Antonio Conte would be so important if he joins Tottenham to have also Fabio Paratici as new director of football, the former Juventus one, that is his big friend. They worked together at Juventus, they won together at Juventus, so it would be important to have also Paratici in the board. And also Antonio wants to understand about the world project of Tottenham. So, and as I was saying before, also about the staff, because for Conte it's really, really important.
And Fabrizio, finally, and I know you're very close to Antonio Conte, does he want assurances that Harry Kane will stay?
I would say yes, because and Antonio is an amazing manager, also in the direct contact with the players. So I'm 100% sure that if Antonio Conte will be the new manager of Tottenham, first thing he does will be talking with Harry Kane, speaking with him about the project and trying to keep Harry Kane, because he loves this kind of striker. He did an incredible job here in Inter, not just with Lukaku, but Lautaro Martinez. This player was never playing in the first season in Europe. Then Antonio bringing him to, as a key player, and now he's a player for 100 million euro. So Antonio is fantastic with the strikers, and the first things he will do will be talking with Harry Kane if he joins Tottenham. So let's see what happens on this side, but for sure, if Antonio joins this kind of club, he wants to have the best players, and Harry Kane, of course, is the best one.
Fabrizio, will it happen? Will Conte go to Tottenham?
Good question. I'm not 100% sure yet, but negotiations are progressing day by day, so they need some step. Let's see. I'm sure that it's not 100% easy, because when you have Antonio Conte, he's a serial winner, and going to Tottenham is something really complicated to win immediately in the first season. And Antonio Conte always says, I want to feel also the 1% of possibility that I can win something in the first season. So won't be so easy. And when I say something, I mean the Premier League, because Antonio wants to win the league. But let's see how the negotiation will continue with Tottenham. And for sure, there is something that attracts him in this kind of challenge, to go to Tottenham and try to win. But about the negotiation, there is still no total agreement.
I have to say, in terms of updates, that is the ultimate, an invaluable update there from Fabricio Romano, who is so close to this situation. Perry, I would love to be a fly in the wall in the negotiations, I've got to say, because this man Conte, he is a bag of tricks. He wants the lot. How ambitious are we here at Tottenham? Well, in what way? Well, are we about to win? Are you thinking we should be winning the Premier League title in season one? Because that's how I'm thinking.
That's how he thinks, right? Because he's not going there to get Spurs into the top four and make them competitive.
Exactly.
If he's going there, he's going there worst ways out to win the title in his second season. In the first season, it's too much of a gap, right? It's now going to test. I think that he's going to have too much ambition for Spurs, and he's going to want to be head of recruitment, all the players he wants coming in and all the players he wants going out. He wants a massive budget, and he wants to take his own staff there. Yeah. Now, if they get him, right, as an Arsenal fan, I would be having a major panic up, because Barry in Serie B, right, he won the title there, and he goes, Juventus, 3 titles there, Chelsea, title there, goes back to Inter, stops Juve winning 10th title on the top. Title there. So what he does is you can't question his methods, though he falls out with owners in the end, because like Chelsea fell out because he didn't have total control. Yeah. Inter Milan, he didn't have the budget that he wanted. But you get 100% total winning mentality. And the difference between Mourinho and him is Mourinho had the CV, but he was past his best. Antonio Conte has the CV, and he's at his best.
So you're seriously worried as an Arsenal fan if he gets his position?
I'm not, because I don't think Daniel Levy is going to match his ambition. I think it's going to be lip service, and then there'll be like a statement.
They've got to see it through now. What a loss of face would it be for Tottenham if they don't see this through?
I don't think they'll give him the money. And the Harry Kane issue, if Conte goes, there is a chance that Kane will stay. But even if he doesn't stay, the money that they get, then he's going to want that to go and buy a striker.
Someone else, not Fabrizio, but somebody else close to this morning, Bob. I said to them, what does Conte want? He said, everything.
Yeah. And that's what he is. He's a manager. He's not this is my club. You give me your club, and I'll do things with you. But don't try and step on my toes. Don't tell me what to do. Don't put your arm around me and say, listen, I've spoken to the accountants. No. These are the players I want. You get them for me, and I'll win.
And also, as well, by the way, if you agree the terms, right, and I don't think Daniel Levy's going to do it because it is total control of the playing side, and he ain't going to do that. If halfway through you don't deliver what you said to him that you would, he'll walk. He won't mess about. He'll just go. So I'm praying that they don't come to an agreement.
I mean, the second part of this question is what happens if they do get him. And I think what they do get him, then with the best one in the world, and again, I have no disrespect for people, but suddenly Mikel Arteta looks a very, very distant second best.
Well, this is it. I mean, all of a sudden the balance of power more locally in North London shifts enormously. But throughout the Premier League, everybody else is thinking, oh my good God, God they got him. I mean, having said that, Cockney Yidu is a big Tottenham fan, is saying, just listen to that. It doesn't fill me with confidence about Conte coming. If this doesn't happen, then maybe Mr. Levy has to think about his own future. Well, Daniel wouldn't be thinking about his future. I mean, Daniel is Tottenham absolutely.
If he doesn't go, right? If Conte doesn't
born and
go,
bred.
it's because Daniel Levy and Spurs as a club don't match. Antonio Conte's
This is one of those
ambition.
few occasions when it isn't, would you like to come and work for us?
No.
This is, hang on a minute. Let me think whether I want to work.
Exactly. And he is the top 5 managers in the world. He is, absolutely.
Will they match his thinking here?
No.
Will Tottenham match his thinking?
I don't think if I was a Tottenham fan, I'd be full of excitement, thinking but there'd be a little bit going, oh, come on a minute.
And by the way, I don't think it's money. I don't think we're talking about money here.
No, it's money for playing.
You know, what we're talking about is commitment. Do you believe what I'm capable of doing and what I have to do to achieve it? And if you do, and if you look at the way Levy handled the stadium, for instance, which we talked about for years and years, and it's a beautiful thing. It's there, and it's, you can worship at it. It's like a cathedral. But it was over budget and over time because Daniel Levy wouldn't take his hand off it and wouldn't say, get on with it. He was, I want them plumbers to have a go at that. I want them electricians. That's what held it out. And I think he's a micromanager. And Conte would say, are you willing to give me this job and then go and sit in your office and just sign
And when I come to you and I want some more money, you give it to me.
You heard there from the top Italian journalist Fabricio Romano, is so close to this thing, he's almost inside the negotiations, put it that way. He is saying Conte is coming, but he would only go if he strongly and clearly believes that they can win the Premier League. That's why he's going. Not to be top 4, top 6, top 4, forget it. He's going there to win the thing, and he wants Kane on board as well.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.